Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Frostbank Center in San Antonio, Texas. And the show just ended. My God, what a boring-ass show this was tonight. This was a 3-hour yawn fest of a show. Nothing was interesting tonight. This felt like a Vince McMahon book show under Triple H. Man, they gave us pretty much nothing tonight. If you missed the show, you did not miss anything. And coming off of a good show in AEW Revolution, which I did watch, and that was a good show. I'm going to talk about it, give my thoughts on my Dynamite review on Wednesday. But going from that show last night to this, man, what a big drop. What an absolute turd of a show this was tonight. What a boring 3 hours it was. But tonight on the show, we saw Gunther. He ended up facing Dominik Mysterio. We had Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark versus Kayden and Katana Chance. Yeah, that was some interesting match there. Yeah, right. We had Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch again. Why? Was anybody asking for a rematch? And we had Andrade make his in-ring return on Monday Night Raw, his in-ring return in a WWE ring. And he ended up taking on Apollo Crews. Wow, I didn't even know that Apollo was still employed with the company. And we have Finn Balor and Damian Priest versus Ludwig, Kaiser, and Giovanni, Vinci. Sami Zayn was in action. He ended up taking on Ivar. And the main event, another rematch. Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. Yeah, this was your Monday Night Raw tonight. What a boring ass show this was. But anyways, let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw opened up tonight with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes made his way to the ring. Got a big ovation there in San Antonio. We got two whoas, ring out from the crowd. So the crowd was chanting for Cody. Cody ended up getting on the mic. He ended up saying, "So San Antonio, what do we want to talk about?" This whole shtick. Cody ended up saying that he would love if they could speak about how at WrestleMania 40 in the main event, with the lights on, the brightest in the biggest game of the year, he will stand across from the greatest champion in company history, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. Cody ended up saying, however, he is really unable to talk about that because of a distraction. He ended up saying that the distraction stings quite a bit. So Cody was talking about The Rock. So the crowd ended up booing when Cody ended up mentioning Rock's name. They were chanting, "Rocky sucks." So he ended up saying last week, The Rock took to Instagram and he ended up posting a video. It was originally 16 minutes. The Rock deleted it, and then The Rock ended up posting a 21-minute video, a director's cut, which that went big on Instagram and on Rock's social media. So pretty much basically The Rock just talking 21 minutes kind of promo on Cody and also Seth Rollins. So then Cody went on to speak about how The Rock was on SmackDown this past Friday, and had he called the fans meth heads. He ended up saying that The Rock talked about his dog, Cody's dog. And that is something you don't do. He ended up saying that the biggest headline of all, which he made sure wasn't the headline, is that Rock did not accept his challenge for a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. He ended up saying The Rock ever so acquaintedly spun that and changed the conversation. Cody ended up saying that The Rock presented a whole new challenge, just like the politician he is. So Cody was like, no wonder everyone wants The Rock to run for office, and become president. Which, that kind of, took place, in a fictionalized, version of The Rock. If you ever watched Young Rock, which that was a very fun, good show, which sadly got canceled. Which, I enjoyed that whole show. So The Rock, and he ended up saying that The Rock ended up saying that the people don't want Cody versus Roman. And that the people want him, The Rock, versus Roman. He ended up saying then the most peculiar thing happened. The people started chanting, something else. And we got a "We Want Cody" chant forming from the crowd. And Cody ended up saying that officials heard it, he heard it, and The Rock heard it. He ended up saying The Rock definitely heard it because he called them Cody crybabies. Cody ended up saying now The Rock has presented an entirely different challenge. One that doesn't just involve him. Cody ended up saying that it involves his friend. So then Cody introduced Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion. So this was Monday Night American Idol here, where people started singing to Cody's theme, going, whoa! And then we had to endure the crowd sing along to Seth Rollins' music, going, whoa! So Seth Rollins made his way out. Everybody was singing along to his song. He was in a neon yellow, jumpsuit. He looked like a stick of gum. So Rollins got on the mic. He ended up welcoming San Antonio to Monday Night Rollins. Rollins ended up asking Cody what he is thinking. Cody ended up saying that Rollins had offered to have his back against the Bloodline. And Cody ended up saying that he didn't even think he'd be at WrestleMania until he saw that stupid PowerPoint of The Rock and Reigns' family being better than everyone else's. Rollins ended up saying that he respects Cody, give him the out, and that'll take care of Drew McIntyre. Rollins then wanted to say that he told McIntyre, as well as Cody, and the entire world, that some things are bigger than them. He ended up saying taking down the Bloodline is the biggest thing they can do. And that it's not just Cody's story that needs to be finished. Rollins ended up saying that it's his story. He ended up saying 10 years ago they came in here and wanted to take the power from the top. Rollins ended up saying that he wanted to give the power back to the people. And that Reigns wanted to keep all the power for himself. He ended up saying with The Rock and the Bloodline, they're this close to Roman Reigns having absolute power. He ended up saying, as for The Rock, Rollins is over him. Rollins ended up saying that Rocky does suck because the fans were chanting once again, Rocky sucks. Rollins ended up saying that he hasn't been The Rock or the People's Champ for a long time. So Rollins ended up saying that he isn't going to call Rock those things anymore. And that he wanted to come up with a new name for The Rock. So Rollins ended up saying that he's going to call The Rock Diarrhea Dwayne. Really? Really, that's the best that you could come up with? Diarrhea Dwayne. You kidding me? How corny is that? So Rollins ended up saying that every single thing that comes out of Rock's mouth has a consistency of wet baby poop. He ended up saying that The Rock gets on Instagram now, and a diarrhea chant ended up picking up. So Rollins ended up saying that it sounds like San Antonio agrees with him. He ended up saying that The Rock is on Instagram for 21 minutes insulting Cody's dog and saying he can make the World Heavyweight Championship go away. So Rollins ended up daring The Rock to try. To try to make the World Heavyweight Championship go away. He ended up saying that The Rock said he made professional wrestling cool again. He ended up saying that Diarrhea Dwayne hasn't been cool in 20 years. Rollins ended up saying that what is cool is this morning he received 100% medical clearance. So Rollins is cleared to compete. He will be at WrestleMania. He ended up saying that he is back and ready to go. Rollins ended up saying that this Friday he will be at SmackDown to confront the Bloodline. Rollins ended up saying that he wants to know from Cody if he has his back. Cody ended up saying that answering his question means giving a message to The Rock. Cody ended up saying that it has been a long time since The Rock wasn't handed something, and that he's forgotten. He ended up saying that the People's Champion is not a title in perpetuity. Cody ended up saying that he will be on SmackDown as well with Rollins and the whole Bloodline in front of the great state of Texas. Cody ended up saying that he will give The Rock a clear and obvious answer to what will happen at WrestleMania. And pretty much that was basically how the segment ended, but this was just a boring segment, in my opinion. 20-minute segment here. They didn't even explain anything. They didn't even explain how when Cody Rhodes whispered, something in The Rock's ear, on SmackDown. We didn't get any explanation of that. So, let's get an explanation, please. And now we had Dominik Mysterio versus Gunther. This was the first match of the night. And this was a okay match here. So, Michael Cole on commentary, he ended up acknowledging and congratulating Sting on his retirement last night. So, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, brought up that, they brought up a match that happened on AEW, the rival company. Which, that was shocking that Michael Cole congratulated Sting on his retirement last night. And Pat McAfee ended up saying that it was an epic match. Surprisingly, they mentioned that because, Sting in WWE, even though he's a Hall of Famer, his run in WWE was an absolute failure. He had only one match, and that was with Triple H at WrestleMania 31. So, the match got underway. Gunther ended up taking Dominik down with a headlock. Dominik ended up going for a takedown. Gunther ended up stopping the takedown from Dominik. He ended up grabbing Dom's leg for a single leg crab. Dominik quickly grabbed the bottom rope. He then shoved Gunther and chopped at Gunther's chest, which it did nothing to Gunther. Gunther then ended up grabbing Dominik, and he ended up throwing him into the corner. Dominik ended up ducking a chop from Gunther. He ended up chopping Gunther again. Dominik ended up getting away from Gunther as Gunther approached him outside the ring. Jey McDonough stepped in front of Gunther. So Dominik was cowering behind Jey McDonough. Gunther shoved McDonough into the ring post. He ended up going for a chop to McDonough, but McDonough moved out of the way, and Gunther ended up hitting the ring post. And that gave Dominik the upper hand. He ended up swinging Gunther's hand into the ring post, and he got Gunther into the ring. Gunther then ended up going for a sleeper hold to Dominik, but Dominik ended up attacking Gunther's hand. Dominik then twisted Gunther's injured hand. He ended up climbing the ropes. Gunther pulled Dominik down, and he delivered a hard chop to Dominik, which echoed throughout the arena. So Dominik then rolled out of the ring to recover, and then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. So then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Dominik ended up chopping Gunther. Gunther ended up turning Dominik inside out with a chop, which Dominik sold that. Gunther ended up tearing Dominik's shirt, and he smashed Dominik's chest with a chop again. So Gunther then applied a Boston Crab. He ended up releasing to chase McDonough off the apron, which led Dominik to dropkick Gunther off the apron. And Dominik ended up hitting a springboard crossbody block to the floor. He then chopped Gunther. Gunther ended up chopping Dominik back and got Dominik back into the ring. Gunther ended up charging at Dominik, but Dominik ended up hitting a drop toe hold into the ropes to Gunther. Dominik ended up setting up for the 619. Gunther ended up chopping Dominik down. He ended up going for the cover, but Gunther lifted Dominik's shoulders. Gunther wanted to do more punishment to Dominik. Dominik ended up kicking Gunther, but Gunther ended up chopping Dominik, and he ended up going for a powerbomb, to which Dominik countered that into a sunset flip, which that was, pretty cool there. So sunset flip to Gunther. Gunther ended up kicking out. Dominik then connected with a flying forearm, and he then connected with a 619 to Gunther. Dominik ended up going up to the top to deliver the frog splash. Gunther moved out of the way. So Gunther ended up smashing Dominik with a drop kick. Gunther then ended up delivering the powerbomb to him, and he put Dominik in the Boston Crab. That led to Dominik tapping out. So there you go. Gunther ended up winning the match. Overall, was an okay match here. Wasn't bad. Gunther, he continues to, do good. He's the longest Intercontinental Champion. We'll see who Gunther's opponent for WrestleMania would be. Which next week, they're going to be doing a gauntlet match, which I will get to explaining. So now we saw Damage Control. Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and Asuka Kairi Sane, they were backstage. Adam Pearce came up to them. Pearce ended up asking Damage Control what they're doing here on Monday Night Raw. Dakota Kai ended up saying to Pearce that they're here to scout the talent, to which Pearce doesn't believe them. So Shinsuke Nakamura walked up to Pearce, and he's like, "We need to talk." And Damage Control ended up walking off. So Adam Pearce ended up assuming Nakamura wants to talk about the Intercontinental Championship. And Nakamura's like, "Yes." So Pearce ended up telling Nakamura to meet him in his office. So pretty much that was basically that. And so we saw a video from earlier in the day where Kathy Kelly was interviewing Kayden Carter and Katana Chance. She was asking them about them losing the Women's Tag Team Championship. Katana Chance ended up saying to Kathy Kelly that her and Kayden want to get back to the top. So Kayden Carter ended up saying that it is WrestleMania season, and you either step up or step back. So Kayden Carter and Katana Chance, they want the Women's Tag Team Championship back, but that's not going to happen probably. And then we have Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark versus Kayden Carter and Katana Chance. We had Damage Control. We're at ringside to watch the match, and this was a boring match here. Did not even care for this match. We had Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark end up winning the match. Baszler pulled Katana Chance out of the ring, and she ended up applying a Kira for the clutch. Zoey Stark then rolled Katana chants up, and there you go. Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark ended up winning the match. Post-match, Dakota Kai got into the ring. She had a mic in hand, and she kept asking Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark why they're looking at, adaptive control like that. So Dakota Kai ended up wanting to congratulate Baszler and Stark on a good match. Yeah, that was no good match, Dakota Kai. What match were you watching? What a boring match it was. So Dakota Kai ended up saying that after Asuka and Kairi Sane retain the titles tomorrow night on NXT, they'll come back to Raw next week in Houston, the far superior city, and give them a title match. Dakota Kai ended up saying that Damage Control will make Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark cry like they did to Bayley. Shayna Baszler then ended up grabbing the mic, and Baszler ended up saying that it's about time, and that her and Zoey Stark will see Asuka and Kairi Sane next week. So Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark ended up walking off, and pretty much that was basically that. So we're getting a title match next week on Monday Night Raw. Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark versus the Kabuki Warriors. And obviously, the Kabuki Warriors will retain. No way I see Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark winning the titles. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we saw the Judgment Day. They were checking up on Dominik. Rhea Ripley ended up asking what he thought was going to happen. So Damian Priest ended up telling Dominik to rest up, and that he'll take care of Imperium, along with Finn Balor, to which they took on Kaiser and Vinci later on. And Priest ended up saying, as for McDonough, he'll take care of Gunther next week. Yeah, thank you for coming, McDonough, for next week. So Andrade walked in. He checked on Dominik, and he ended up saying, see you soon. And pretty much that was basically that. So I guess Dominik's next opponent, will be Andrade. So I sense, that's what's to come. Andrade was in action, later on. And then we had Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax, a rematch. Did not even care for this. Who wanted to see a rematch with Becky Lynch and Nia Jax here? I know I didn't want to see it. And I know a lot of you didn't want to see it either. Match was boring, in my opinion. Another boring women's match here. So Becky Lynch sidestepped Nia Jax as, after the bell rang. Becky Lynch ended up attacking Nia Jax. Nia Jax grabbed Becky and slammed her into the corner. Nia Jax shouldered Becky in her midsection. Becky ended up coming back, ended up kicking Nia Jax in her face, and she ended up drop kicking Nia Jax back. Becky Lynch ended up attacking Nia in the corner, but Nia ended up shoving Becky off. Becky ended up going for a sunset flip, but Nia Jax didn't even go down. So Becky Lynch ended up avoiding a stop from Nia Jax. She hit the ropes. Nia Jax ended up grabbing Becky and slammed her down. She then avalanched Becky in the corner and headbutted Becky down. Nia Jax hit the ropes. She dropped an elbow onto Becky Lynch. She ended up going for the cover, to which Becky ended up kicking out at 2. Becky started punching back at Nia, but Nia then lifted her up. Becky countered out of a slam with a sleeper hold on Nia. Nia quickly ended up backing Becky into the corner and slammed her before slinging her down. Nia Jax ended up hitting a running hip attack in the corner to Becky, and then she ended up delivering a running hip attack to Becky's face. Nia Jax, once again, did Rikishi, and she ended up doing the stink face to Becky. Please, Nia Jax, stop doing the stink face. Please. It's not entertaining as to, when, Rikishi did, which a lot of people back in the day loved when Rikishi did the stink face. Even though it was disgusting, everybody popped for it. It was a different time, back in the day. The stink face got over when Rikishi used to do it. Not when Nia Jax does it nowadays. So Nia Jax ended up choking Becky on the bottom rope. She then lifted Becky, but Becky ended up sliding off. She ended up chop blocking Nia Jax's knee. So Becky ended up punching away at Nia Jax, but Nia Jax ended up pushing Becky away. Becky then booted Nia Jax back. She ended up going to the top rope for a missile drop kick. Nia Jax stumbled back and fell out of the ring, which that looked freaking odd. So Becky then connected with a baseball slide. She jumped off the apron, but Nia ended up catching her. Nia Jax then ended up delivering the Samoan drop to Becky on the floor. So that was when Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back, Becky Lynch was attempted to hit Nia Jax with a superplex. Jax countered with a front superplex. She then ended up standing on the second rope, and Nia Jax connected with a diving leg drop onto Becky. Nia Jax ended up going for the cover, and Becky ended up kicking out. We had Becky end up ducking the right hand. She ended up going for the manhandle slam. Nia Jax ended up fighting out of that. She ended up going for a sidewalk slam, but Becky countered that with a head scissor takeover to send Nia Jax into the turnbuckles. So Becky ended up getting fired up. She ended up grabbing Nia Jax's arm. Jax ended up shoving Becky off, and Nia Jax once again dropped Becky with a Samoan drop. She then quickly dragged Becky to the corner. Nia Jax ended up going for the Annihilator, and Becky ended up moving out of the way when Nia Jax went for the Annihilator. Becky then applied this armor, but Nia Jax was close to the ropes, so Becky had to release the disarmor. Nia Jax ended up pulling Becky to the center of the ring and applied a cross arm breaker. Jax ended up pulling Becky out of the ring, ended up slinging her into the barricade. So Nia Jax ended up taking a moment to recover. She then turned into a flying forearm delivered from Liv Morgan off of the barricade. So because of that, the match ended in disqualification. Nia Jax won the match by disqualification. Post-match, Liv Morgan ended up getting to the ring, and she smiled at Becky, to which, Becky ended up costing Liv Morgan her match against Nia Jax last week on Monday Night Raw. So Liv Morgan ended up telling Becky to cry about it. So Becky then ended up grabbing Liv, started arguing with her. Nia Jax pulled both Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch out of the ring. Nia Jax ended up slinging Becky into the ring post. So Becky ended up crashing to the floor. Nia Jax then ended up dropping a leg on Liv Morgan. And pretty much that was that. She laid out both Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan, Nia Jax. So Nia Jax, we saw she ended up grabbing a fan's hat. And she hit the fan with the hat a few times. And then she ended up walking off. So that was that. They're trying to get Liv Morgan to go to WrestleMania. But does anybody want to see Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, and Becky Lynch go at it in a triple threat? Really? But overall, boring match this was. Nobody wanted to see this rematch between Nia Jax and Becky. Nobody. Nobody asked for it. And then we saw Adam Pearce. He was in his office. He was with Ricochet. Oh, wow. They found Ricochet. He's been off TV for how long? So Ricochet was complaining about doing all he can to Adam Pearce, and that he still isn't getting fed. Pierce ended up saying that he respects Ricochet as the last man to hold the Intercontinental Championship before Gunther. Adam Pierce ended up telling Ricochet that he has a plan that just needs to be finalized, and that it will make everyone who wants a Intercontinental Championship shot very happy. So Damian Priest then walked into Adam Pierce's office with JD McDonough. So we had Damian Priest end up telling Pierce that McDonough wants a shot at Gunther. So McDonough ended up telling Pierce to put him in the ring with Gunther. So that was that. So then we saw Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan was walking backstage. Becky Lynch ended up stopping her. Becky Lynch was not happy that Liv Morgan interrupted the match tonight. So Becky ended up saying that last week she was just finishing up what Nia Jax started. And that was to get back at Nia Jax and not at Liv Morgan. So Liv Morgan was like, oh, this is typical of you. Becky ended up saying that they can fight about it next week. So Liv Morgan ended up agreeing. She walked off. Rhea Ripley walked up to Becky Lynch. She laughed at Becky and then walked off. Of course, Rhea Ripley is taking on Becky Lynch at WrestleMania for the Women's World Championship. But Liv Morgan, is coming off here as a heel. So this is pretty much, the plants, the seeds being planted for Liv Morgan to probably go full heel. Yeah, I would like to see a heel Liv Morgan. And then we saw Adam Pierce. Adam Pierce ended up talking about the rich and storied history of the Intercontinental Championship. He ended up saying finding a worthy challenger for Gunther at WrestleMania has been a challenge. So Adam Pierce ended up saying that he has zeroed in on 6 men who deserve an opportunity. So he announces the 6 men. Sami Zayn, Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bronson Reed, JD McDonough, and Chad Gable have all been chosen. And that the 6 men will compete next week to find out who will face Gunther at WrestleMania. And the match will be a gauntlet match. So, of course, the winner will face Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. I don't like this. I don't. A gauntlet match? I've seen too much of these gauntlet matches to the point where I'm like, I don't care. I really don't care. Instead of doing a gauntlet match, they should have just did a ladder match and just hang a contract from above. And the winner of the match who gets the contract signs it. And then, we have, that opponent versus Gunther at WrestleMania. Why do we need a gauntlet match? Gauntlet matches have been overexposed to the point where I don't even want to see a gauntlet match anymore. I don't. When WWE books a gauntlet match, that there is nothing else that they have to book on the show. I wouldn't be surprised if this gauntlet match takes up the whole first hour. If they do it in the first hour. If they do in the second hour, I'm like, yeah, they have nothing else to book for the show. God. Please, no more gauntlet matches. Gauntlet matches are overexposed and overrated. And then we had Andrade versus Apollo Crews. God, I didn't even know that Apollo Crews was still signed to WWE. That's how long he hasn't been used on TV. When was the last time we saw Apollo Crews on TV? But this was just a match to, get Andrade over. So, but overall, the match was just meh, in my opinion. Andrade connected with the La Sombra, which, of course, the Hammerlock DDT on Apollo Crews. So there you go. Andrade ended up winning the match. But I did like the whole presentation for Andrade when he came out. I thought it was pretty good. But overall, just a very meh match. This was all just done to get Andrade over. So that was pretty much that. And then we saw Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond was backstage with Sami Zayn. Redmond mentioned that Sami Zayn has the opportunity to become the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship in next week's Gauntlet match. Sami Zayn ended up telling Jackie Redmond that we've all seen his highs and lows. He said that the confidence has been shaken, but he talked about his belief that a path to WrestleMania would reveal itself. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he talked about doing something historic, and this Gauntlet match allows him the opportunity. He ended up saying this could be historic, and that this is his path for WrestleMania. Sami Zayn went on to say that he has had a lot of matches, and this is one of the most important of his career. So then we saw Ivar and Valhalla walked up to Sami Zayn. So Valhalla ended up saying that they cannot believe a pathetic man like Sami Zayn has a chance at WrestleMania. Ivar ended up saying that he knows that he can beat Gunther. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he knows that Ivar knows he cannot beat Gunther. So Sami Zayn ended up saying that he can beat him. He could beat Ivar. So Sami ended up telling Ivar to meet him in the ring. To which Ivar ended up telling Sami Zayn to forget about WrestleMania because he won't make it next week. So that was that. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we saw Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. They were upset that they lost their Women's Tag Team Championship opportunity at the Elimination Chamber. Indy Hartwell ended up assuring Candice that they'll get another opportunity. But Candice ended up saying that there might not be a next time. So Natalya ended up agreeing. She ended up saying to Tegan Nox that they lost momentum when Tegan Nox eliminated her from the Royal Rumble. Tegan Nox ended up saying that Natalya tried to eliminate her first, to which Natalya ended up saying that she's the veteran and will help them regroup. Candice LeRae ended up saying that Natalya is onto something and that they need to forget their manners. So Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile came in. They ended up telling Candice LeRae that she's in a rough patch, but she'll come out of it. Candice LeRae ended up saying that she doesn't need a pity party from someone who has had only 3 matches. So that was basically that. Did not even care for this. Did not give a shit. Then we had Damian Priest and Finn Balor versus Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. This was a decent match here. Finn Balor and Ludwig Kaiser started off the match. Both guys locked up. Balor forearmed Kaiser in his kidneys. Balor started punching away at Kaiser in the corner. Vinci ended up distracting Balor. Kaiser then ended up spinning Balor around. He ended up punching away at Balor. Vinci ended up tagging in. He ended up shouldering Balor in the corner. Vinci uppercutted Balor a few times. And then he ended up hooking a side headlock on Balor. Balor whipped Vinci off. Vinci ended up going for a sunset flip, but Balor rolled through. He ended up drop kicking Vinci. He ended up going for the cover, to which Vinci ended up kicking out at 2. So then we saw Damian Priest end up tagging in. Priest ended up throwing Vinci to the corner. Priest then ended up stomping Vinci down as he was talking some trash to Kaiser. Vinci then shoved Priest away and tagged Kaiser in. Kaiser ended up charging away at Priest, but Priest took Kaiser down. Priest then uppercutted Kaiser, and then he whipped him hard into the corner. Priest ended up going for a running back elbow, but Kaiser moved out of the way. Priest quickly elbowed Kaiser back. So Balor ended up kicking Kaiser in the back. Priest started punching Kaiser down, and he ended up kicking Vinci off the apron. Balor then tagged in. Priest and Balor both ended up sending Kaiser into the ropes, and then they started kicking away at him. Balor ended up dropping Kaiser with a scissor kick, and he ended up going for the cover, to which Kaiser kicked out. Balor immediately transitioned into a chin lock on Kaiser. Balor then turned that chin lock into a abdominal stretch. Kaiser ended up fighting out of it. He drove Balor into the ring post. So both Kaiser and Vinci ended up sandwiching Balor with some drop kicks to his head, to which that led to Balor falling to the floor. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. When Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Kaiser was in control of the match. He ended up taking Balor down. Vinci tagged in. He knocked Priest off the apron. So both Kaiser and Vinci ended up pinning Balor with a high-low. And we had Vinci ended up going for the cover, to which Balor kicked out. Vinci then choked Balor on the middle rope, and then he had pinned a scoop slam. Vinci ended up dropping an elbow on Balor. He ended up going for the cover, to which Balor ended up kicking out. So we had a "Let's Go Balor" chant pick up. Kaiser tagged in. He started punching Balor down. Kaiser hit the ropes, and he kicked Balor in the face. Balor started to punch back at Kaiser, but Kaiser ended up sending Balor into the ropes. Balor came back. He ended up kicking Kaiser in the face, and he knocked Vinci off the apron, and he ended up kicking Kaiser in the head. So we had later on in the match, we had Balor end up hitting Vinci with a sling blade. He then went up to the top. He delivered a coup de grace on Vinci. He ended up going for the cover, and Kaiser broke up the pin. At the end of the match, Vinci ended up hitting the ropes. Priest then clotheslined Vinci. So Priest then ended up hitting Vinci with the South of Heaven. He ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Balor and Priest ended up winning the match. Overall, it was a decent match here between Balor, Priest, and Kaiser and Vinci. And then it was announced that Paul Heyman is the first inductee into the class of 2024 for the WWE Hall of Fame. Very well, done by WWE in inducting Paul Heyman into the Hall of Fame. It was the right time. Paul Heyman, ECW was first born in Philly. So what a great time to induct Paul Heyman, one of the best managers in all of WWE. You gotta respect and love what Paul Heyman does. Very well glad that Paul Heyman is the first inductee into the Hall of Fame. And then we saw Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre was backstage with Jackie Redmond. Redmond ended up asking McIntyre if Rollins has listened to anything that McIntyre has said. McIntyre ended up saying to Jackie Redmond that Rollins is a junkie. He's a spotlight junkie. He ended up saying that his responsibilities are to Raw, but he is tying himself up somewhere else. McIntyre ended up saying that Rollins has been around CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns. McIntyre ended up saying that he doesn't care as long as Rollins shows up at WrestleMania. He ended up saying that the World Heavyweight Championship deserves better than Rollins. McIntyre ended up saying, as for Jey Uso, he wants an apology from him. But he better apologize, since Jey has no chance at winning later on tonight. So that was what McIntyre had to say. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we saw Damage Control. Damage Control was walking backstage. Rhea Ripley walked up to them, and she ended up warning Damage Control to stay out of her territory. So Io Sky ended up looking at Rhea Ripley. She ended up scuffing at her, and then they ended up walking off. So that was that. Rhea Ripley wants Damage Control out of territory there. And then we had Sami Zayn versus Ivar. And this was a decent match here. This wasn't bad. We had Valhalla end up coming out wearing the antlers, to which I don't know why Michael Cole on commentary is obsessed with these antlers. So Valhalla ended up going to the commentary table. She put the antlers on top of Michael Cole's head, which that got a chant from the crowd. They were chanting Michael. They were chanting Michael Cole because he's wearing the antlers that he is going ballistic over. Like I said, I don't know what Michael Cole's obsession is with these antlers that Valhalla wears. To which was funny, Pat McAfee on commentary ended up saying to Michael Cole that he looks like an asshole because he's wearing the antlers. So the match got underway. We had Ivar end up shoving Sami Zayn off. So both guys end up locking up. Ivar ended up taking Sami Zayn down. He cartwheeled around a boot, and he ended up knocking Sami Zayn down. Sami Zayn ended up fighting back and sent Ivar to the floor. Sami Zayn ended up connected with a senton. He ended up getting Ivar in the ring. Sami Zayn ended up going for an exploder into the corner to Ivar. Ivar then ended up blocking a tornado DDT. He ended up getting Sami Zayn out of the ring. And Ivar connected with a cannonball off the apron to Sami Zayn. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Ivar was in control of the match. He ended up putting Sami Zayn on the top rope. Ivar ended up going for a German suplex, but Sami Zayn ended up elbowing Ivar back. Ivar ended up fighting Sami Zayn off. He ended up going for a back superplex, but Sami Zayn ended up twisting to land on top of Ivar. He ended up going for the cover, to which Ivar ended up kicking out. Sami Zayn tried to lift Ivar for a Blue Thunder Bomb, but Ivar ended up elbowing him off. Sami Zayn fought back with a Tornado DDT to Ivar. He ended up charging for a Ludwig kick. Ivar then countered that with a spin kick. Ivar then ended up hitting the Tiger Driver to Sami Zayn, to which he ended up going for the cover, to which Sami Zayn kicked out. We had Sami Zayn end up hitting a Sunset Flip Powerbomb to Ivar, to which he ended up going for the cover, and Ivar kicked out, to which Sami Zayn couldn't believe that. He couldn't believe that Ivar kicked out the Sunset Flip Powerbomb. So at the end of the match, Sami Zayn connected with the Haluva kick to Ivar. He ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Sami Zayn ended up winning the match. Post-match, Sami Zayn got to his feet, and Bronson Reed ended up avalanching Sami Zayn down. Bronson Reed ended up going to the top rope, and he ended up delivering the tsunami onto Sami Zayn. Bronson Reed then climbed the ropes, and he pointed at the WrestleMania sign, and that was basically that. But of course, Bronson Reed will be in the Gauntlet match next week. But overall, decent match between Sami Zayn and Ivar. And then we had Kathy Kelly. Kathy Kelly was backstage with Gunther. Gunther ended up telling Kathy Kelly that Dominik Mysterio stepped up, but he didn't question the outcome. So Kathy Kelly ended up asking Gunther about the Gauntlet match next week. Gunther ended up saying that this should be a stacked deck because he elevated the great prize to places it has never been before. And it's great to see the creme de la creme of Monday Night Raw fighting for a spot to be outclassed by the Ring General. So Chad Gable walked up to Gunther. Chad Gable ended up saying that he's sick of Gunther's condescending smile. Chad Gable ended up saying that he can get past that, but he can't get past what Gunther did to him after their last match. He ended up saying that his daughter had tears in her eyes. And Chad Gable ended up saying to Gunther that he'll do what he swore to do last September and take the Intercontinental Championship. Chad Gable ended up saying that he will take that smile from Gunther and put it on his daughter's face. He ended up saying this match just means more to him. Gunther then ended up laughing at what Chad Gable had to say to him, and he walked off. To which Gable ended up sneering at Gunther. So basically that was that. But for the Gauntlet match, I have two guys who I want to see win. Number one, Sami Zayn. Number two, Chad Gable. I think the outcome of that Gauntlet match, I think Chad Gable is going to be the guy to win the Gauntlet match. He's going to be the one to face Gunther at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship. I would see Chad Gable being the one to defeat Gunther and, win the Intercontinental Championship. Have Chad Gable, have his moment at WrestleMania. So I think that's where WWE is going to head. If it ends up being Sami Zayn, I wouldn't mind that. And then we got Jey Uso. Jey Uso ended up saying for weeks, all he has heard is Drew McIntyre crying and complaining about an apology. Jey ended up saying that he's sorry for what he's about to do to McIntyre. And Jey ended up saying that he don't play. So he then put on his yeet sunglasses. And then he just said, yeet. And that was that. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we saw Gargano and Ciampa, DIY. They were playing 2K24 with Miz, R-Truth, and Xavier Woods, to which R-Truth thought that he was playing with Triple H and Shawn Michaels. So the Miz ended up saying that they need to get back at the Judgment Day and take their undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. R-Truth ended up saying that he is excited. And he ended up calling Gargano and Ciampa Regeneration X. Xavier Woods ended up saying that he wants to hate it, but he loves it. So that was that. This is going to lead to Miz and R-Truth, going to WrestleMania, facing Balor and Damian Priest. And Miz and R-Truth are going to defeat Balor and Priest and become the new undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. And that's going to be a big moment for R-Truth at WrestleMania. And 2K24, looks good. I might want to pick up the game. And then we saw Pat McAfee. He used the stupid Telestrator. I'm like, why are we still doing this with the Telestrator? Why? If I want to see that, I'll watch football when my Giants play to see, all the plays. I don't need a Telestrator on my pro wrestling show. So he's breaking down Michael Cole wearing Valhalla's antlers. Why? Stop with the Telestrator shit. It's pro wrestling. It's not football. So then they announced what we're going to see next week on Monday Night Raw. We're going to see Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. Asuka Kairi Sane defend the Women's Tag Team Championship against Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark. And, of course, the Gauntlet match to determine who will be the number one contender to face Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. So that's all set for Monday Night Raw next week. Main event. Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. This was a rematch. We've seen this before with these two. Nothing new here. I mean, it was a decent match, but it's the same shit. Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso both end up staring at each other. We had a yeet chant pick up from the crowd. Jey ended up decking McIntyre with some right hands. McIntyre ended up shoving Jey off. He ended up charging at Jey, but Jey ended up putting McIntyre on the apron. McIntyre then blocked the kick from Jey. Jey ended up spinning and ended up kicking McIntyre in the head, which knocked McIntyre out to the floor. Jey then bounced McIntyre off the commentary table. McIntyre started fighting back, and McIntyre ended up slinging Jey over the commentary table. So McIntyre then looked at the camera, and he shouted, "Yeet!" And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, McIntyre was in control of the match. He started punching Jey on the apron. Jey ended up stunning McIntyre with a kick to his face. He went up to the top rope. He dove for a crossbody block on McIntyre. He ended up going for the cover, to which McIntyre kicked out. Jey then punched away at McIntyre. McIntyre then reversed the whip into the corner. Jey ended up going to slingshot over McIntyre, but McIntyre kicked Jey in his ribs. He ended up going for the cover, to which Jey ended up kicking out. So we had McIntyre end up setting up for the white noise. Jey then fought out of that. He connected with a sit-out powerbomb to McIntyre, to which McIntyre ended up kicking out. Jey quickly headed to the top rope. He dove for an Uso splash, but McIntyre got his knees up. McIntyre then connected with a spine buster and a jackknife cover, to which Jey kicked out. So McIntyre then ended up grabbing Jey. He connected with a vertical suplex on the floor. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from its final commercial break, McIntyre was in control. He started punching Jey around ringside. McIntyre then lifted Jey and drove him back and forth into the barricade and into the ring apron a few times. McIntyre then ended up rolling Jey into the ring. Jey ended up struggling to get to his feet. McIntyre scooped Jey up, but Jey slid off and shoved McIntyre to the corner. McIntyre ended up charging, but Jey booted McIntyre down. We had Jey end up uppercutting McIntyre. He ducked the clothesline and connected with a Samoan drop to McIntyre, to which Jey ended up going for the cover, and McIntyre ended up kicking out. So we had Jey end up taking McIntyre out with a suicide dive. Jey ended up getting McIntyre into the ring. Jey went to the top rope, and all we saw was Sol Sikoa. He ended up coming to ringside through the crowd. Jey leaped at McIntyre, but McIntyre moved out of the way. McIntyre connected with a future shock DDT. He ended up going for the cover, to which Jey ended up kicking out. So Cody Rhodes ran down. Cody Rhodes ended up attacking Sol Sikoa, and Sikoa and Cody ended up brawling into the crowd. McIntyre started counting down, for the Claymore. He ended up charging for the Claymore, but Jey super kicked McIntyre. Jey then connected with 2 super kicks to McIntyre, and then he went for the spear. Jey ended up heading to the apron to climb the ropes, but he stopped because he saw his brother, Jimmy, sneering at him, to which Jey looked shocked. Jey got back into the ring, and McIntyre just laid Jey out with the Claymore. So McIntyre ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Drew McIntyre ended up winning the match. Post-match, Jimmy then ended up grabbing a steel chair. He got into the ring. Seth Rollins ran down. Rollins ended up running past Drew McIntyre. McIntyre then looked stunned. Rollins got into the ring. He super kicked the chair into Jimmy's face. Rollins then turned into a Claymore delivered from Drew McIntyre. So McIntyre laid out, Rollins with the Claymore. McIntyre then grabbed the World Heavyweight Championship, and he ended up telling Rollins this is what awaits him if he continues down this path. And that was how Monday Night Raw went off the air. Overall, this was a decent main event between McIntyre and Jey Uso, but nothing new. It was the same shit. But overall, Monday Night Raw tonight, just a 3-hour yawn fest. It was absolutely boring. A turd of a show. That's what Monday Night Raw was tonight. And Seth Rollins, him saying, "Oh, diarrhea Dwayne," it just made him look like an absolute fool. He made a fool out of himself saying that. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all Wednesday night for AEW Dynamite, which, at the beginning of that review, I will give my thoughts on what I thought of AEW Revolution. And, of course, Sting's final match. So, see you all on Wednesday night.